Hey guys, this is Turok, and in this video I'm going to be reacting to One Piece chapter 1174. We are getting really into it now, and some stuff happens here even faster than I expected. This is very exciting. I expected reinforcements, let's just say, to come later, but they actually come right away here, and now it's going to be really interesting to see how Oda's going to set up our opponents. Namely, I was talking about Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy versus maybe the Gods Knights. But I keep forgetting, too, we got Loki there. Which also makes me a little disappointed because I'm thinking that it's going to be a while before Sanji gets a good fight. I feel like Sanji's going to be sidelined here again. And Zoro and Luffy are going to be the ones getting a good fight because he has to use Loki here. We're gonna see what Loki can do a little bit here, and the next chapter, which unfortunately I think we got a break, is gonna be what we're gonna have the. I think he's gonna set up those three fights here because we only got three of the Gods Knights, unless Shamrock somehow comes back. Well, no, yeah, he could come back if he needs to. That's right. The pentagram thing, is that what they call it, right? It's still there in Harold's throne room, in the castle throne room. So at any point, someone else could probably, the other Gods Knights could be brought over there as they need to. I don't know if they would have to be. I guess that one of them or any of them could come as they please if they think they need to. But and Emu's there now in using his possession ability of Gunko, so he could also probably relay a message to some of the other ones to say, hey, mobilize and come over here. And so I'm wondering if that's what will happen here. And let's go like that. So so I'm thinking that hopefully there would be hope that for Sanji to have a good fight here, because he didn't do anything in Egghead like I had hoped. In that one chapter where him and Luffy were squaring off with Saturn and Kizaru, I thought we might have to actually see Sanji fight Kizaru, as we've kind of seen that setup going back for years, because there was the three admirals we had at the time, Aokiji, when Aokiji, Akainu, and Kizaru were the three admirals, and it was like, okay, there's three of them, and we got Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro, who always get the big fights. So the monster trio. And I know one of the openings for One Piece showed them fighting them. So the obvious setup, though, was like Luffy and Akainu, especially after Marineford, and that Luffy would want to fight him, and then Kizaru and Sanji was seemed like a matchup because they both prefer fighting with their feet. I don't know why. Now I don't think they ever gave a reason that Kizaru does that. Maybe that's just his preference. With Sanji, it is both like how he's been trained, his preference, and he does it because he doesn't want to hurt his hands in battle, because he uses his hands for cooking. So it's kind of like, my hands are for cooking, my feet are for fighting. So he has it like my different vocations I do. I use my different limbs. But Kizaru, though Kizaru does fight with his arms, that's right, he can make the sword. A lot of his initial fighting stuff we saw in back in Sabaody was him using kicks. Also, he did have the swords, and he makes that laser sword, and he was fighting with he tried to use it against Luffy too, but also initially he fought oh, is this going down? Come on. He did that against I don't like that. Come on. Against Rayleigh. Rayleigh and him were fighting, and he used the sword, and Rayleigh had his whatever kind of sword. I don't think we've ever got a name of his sword. I'll bet it's another one of the is it the Saijo Owazomoto? I forget the names of the grades, the exact grade names in the Japanese names, but the 12 strongest ones, which we have. What do we have now? We have Ace, Sandai, no, Shodai Kitetsu, Whitebeard's weapon, 5. Yeah, we got is it 5? I forget now. And I have to count them later. trying to get to the review here. So there's, he fought. So anyways, back to Sanji. Yeah, I'm getting off topic. Sanji, I hope will have a good fight here. Right, the last we heard of him, he went to find Nami and make sure she's okay. So he's with that group which has Jinbei and Usopp are there. Yeah, Brook was there and he's left, and then he's gonna be there. That I bet the main part he's gonna be trying to free Robin because he's not gonna stand for Robin being tied up still because the others were able to escape, but Robin's tied up by Summer's power and not Gunko's power. So anyways, so Zoro, we saw what he is, and then so Zoro's trying to help the Hiruden's group. He's with he's with Hiruden and Stensberg or Stevison. No, Stevison. I'm mixing up him and Goldberg. They're together and they're fighting. They're trying to stop the group led by the I'm just trying to get all these names quickly in my head. Dory and Bragi are going after Chief Jarl. They made it to the village, and then Zoro and those other two made it there, and Zoro's keeping them occupied and trying to stop them from helping them kill King Jarl, not King Jarl, Chief Jarl. And so back to the reinforcements. We're gonna have to see what happens there now, and then the main thing in the last bit was seeing what that was the meat and potatoes was the meat, just the meat, I guess you call it. If I get those metaphors wrong, I'm sorry. Brook and Gunko, they have a history together. The simplest version of this, based on assumption of this, based on what we know about Brook's past, is this: she might be a princess that was the leader of the country Brook grew up in, his hometown, his home country, and Brook, we know, was in charge of some kind of convoy back in the day before he became a pirate, probably for transporting goods, whatever kind of goods they would sell to other countries. Because we haven't seen any of this, but we have the understanding that a lot of these countries do trade with each other, and they also are at war with each other. And that's something interesting too. Do the Marines intervene in any of these wars that might happen, or do they they try to? We saw the Reverie, a lot of the 50 top kings and queens come together to try to take care of disputes, but they only do that every 4 years. And we know there are other countries that are at war with each other. We've seen a number of them at this time. We saw that where Whitebeard and Kaido grew up respectively. Both were countries that were really war-torn and screwed up, and that's both made them... That's interesting, too, because of the dynamic, about how they grew up. But they both grew up as orphans and were fighting in wars. And the same with that one country where Vice Admiral T-Bone was killed, was also a country that's been ruined, and the one that where Baby 5 grew up. So I wonder how many of these countries are at war with each other, where they might be fighting over resources and stuff like that, and I wonder if they go to war all the time, and that's why there might be convoys where Brook was in charge. They might be like what do they call that? Merchant Marines, I think is something we have in this world. Something like that, where they help protect the shipping lanes there. Brook, I think, might have been doing stuff like that, where he might have been part of a security group, is how I picture it, that would be protecting his country's shipping goods to someplace else from pirates in general. And then they, if these countries are fighting over goods and resources, there might be stuff going on there. Anyways, so Brook sees Gunko, remembers her from when he was a young man, and he doesn't realize, he recognizes that it must be her or maybe someone related. They obviously don't know much about the God's Night and the covenants yet, and how they can give, some of them can give immortality. So he's confronting her, and then Gunko is coming back to her senses. Her memories have been repressed since she's been a God's Knight under Emu for decades now. There's the guess that she no, there is no guess. There's shown. I was thinking of something else. So we know she's been there at least 56 years, because she saw when she was present when Rox burst in there and threatened the Emu. So she's been there a long time as some kind of personal servant. Actually, I like the joke someone made. I think it was Tekking when I watched his video afterward. he pointed out that Emu seems to have a thing for blue-haired women because Gunko's hair now. We got the description here. We didn't see it yet. We haven't seen her in the anime yet, obviously. We won't see her until later this year in the anime. But Brooke described her as having blue hair, and that's what Vivi and her ancestor, her great-great aunt Lily had blue hair. And so Emu, Tekking made a joke that, he took Gunko and made her his personal servant because he wanted a blue-haired woman because he probably had he has some. Because he had a picture, we saw the portrait of, he had a picture of Lily in his throne, in his castle somewhere, in the Marijois castle. Anyways, I'm getting way off topic, I'm sorry. So, that was the main thing, and, that's the other one, I gotta get that. So, we got Brooke and him meeting together, and Gunko's coming back, and so Brooke is also the first person to be fighting against Emu, technically. We'll have, hopefully, next week we'll see that. We don't see anything that we don't see any of that today. And the last bit is that so Summers is supervising the group of the kids getting them to a ship, and unfortunately for him, the group starting with Gerd, Roto, and Goldberg, they caught up to him, and then Ripley and Oimoil coming too with their other parents to try and get their kids. Gerd's group using a hockey attack, I think it's a hockey attack. It kind of reminds me of what Kaido and Big Mom can do. They use it on the demon version of the sun god thing, that the dream conjured beast that was coming after them, and it falls into the water. Actually, I think also accidentally Summers messed up. He tried to defend himself because it was falling toward him, and he whacked it unintentionally in the water. And it destroys the ship. So now we're right at a point now where he's got the kids there heading to the water still. It's the sea clouds. It's not really water, and technically water, but it's the the cloud sea that the Elbaf has up in this higher level. And now the kids are gonna probably drop to their deaths, and now he's in a predicament there. So let's get into this and see what happens from here. Before we get into the chapter, I actually wanted to stop briefly and bring up Oda's been doing he ended that story a while back with Yamato, Kaido's daughter, and her story where she rescued, she was doing a pilgrimage thing around Wano, and she since then we've been doing these fan request art pieces, and I wanted to touch on this one because it has Roger in it, and because we see so little of Roger overall in the story. Actually, that was the biggest thing with the Odin flashback, is we got to see so much of Roger for once, more of him. So I just wanted to touch on this one where this is a fan request of him being on probably on Little Garden, and he's tamed a Tyrannosaurus to be his pet, and so he's taking it for a walk here, and he's giving it his hat. So you can tell this is later in his life, where after he's given the straw hat to Shanks. So he's walking around with his big fancy captain's hat, and he put on the T-Rex, and they're eating a big steak or some kind of cooked meat together. And I just thought that was quite cute to bring up because I like seeing more of Roger as a character. And of course we got Roger in the recent flashback for us manga viewers, but I just bring up that'll be interesting now when we get that in the anime. That probably won't be till next year though. But I'm doing the seasonal style animation now, which would be I think it's a 26 episodes. I think the flashback for the Harold Rock's flashback won't come until the end of the year, this year. So probably next year we see Roger, and let's say. Well, maybe we could get it sooner. It depends on how they do the pacing with the chapters into the episodes this time. Toward the end of Egghead, I appreciate that they finally had got some of the. They were starting to do more like a chapter and a half, because when they did the part where York was playing her game to try and wipe out everyone. That was really stretching the chapters in the episodes where it wasn't even a full chapter per episode. But now it's been it was improved later on. So maybe we could get the flashback sooner than sooner than later. I hope we can then if they do the pacing differently. So let's get back to this now. So let's see, no, we're over here. So I got another screen here because I needed it for reference for something that's happening here. So we ended there with that's where. So we start here with Summers, and as the kids are still walking toward the dock, he's in a conundrum here. He's like, oh crap, this is bad. The kids are still coming. That stupid, what do you call it, sleep Ted, screwed everything up. And it shows Oda shows that it's the sun god, the evil sun god thing that a lot of the kids picture as the destroyer rather than a hero, which will actually shortly be changed in their minds, I hope. And like, oh crap, I lost the ship. And even worse, I lost the siege clouds too. Actually, that brings up a good point. And he says here first, he's like, oh, this is really bad. The power, let's see, hold on, how did I do that? I hit the wrong button. Right here. The power, Gunko's power is still active. And so the kids were going to walk right off to the edge and they'll fall down to the underworld below. So actually, he brings up something there. I was just thinking, like, okay, the way he said, oh, the sea clouds are gone. If the kids is falling into the sea clouds, won't they still sink into there? Didn't that happen to... How did that happen at Skypiea? When Luffy and the others got up to the sea, the first level above, it's at 7,000 meters, I think. I know Luffy. I think Luffy still was losing. I think Luffy tried to go in there too, and he lost his powers. Didn't Usopp too? My point is, I think they would still sink, so they would just end up drowning maybe first, or would they still just slowly fall through and then still drop down? Because it's clouds. The old-fashioned kind of if you watch those old cartoons from the 1930s or 40s, they always show clouds as being something you can float on, which really doesn't happen. But I was just thinking, is Oda implying here that these clouds have enough density that the kids could have just floated on the clouds or kept moving with the arrow? But now, for sure, without them, they're going to die. It seems he's implying here. Summers is implying. So then he's like, oh, Summers tries to contact Gunko. And like, Gunko, you got to stop the kids. You halt them where they are standing. And he's trying, and he's like, oh, wait. That won't work. Shoot. Emu is controlling her at the moment, so she's not receiving my messages. I'm thinking, like, why don't you just contact him? But then he makes it clear here why. He doesn't want to, I think he's going to point out more. He's like worried about getting in trouble for this messing up. Any kind of failure or whatnot here, Emu does not take well. As you can see, them taking longer to even have this happen has brought him here. So after that, Summers looks down below and he sees that while he's been worrying about how's he going to tell Emu he fucked up, he sees that the parents, this is the one part of the group that Ripley and Oimo are leading the charge of, have caught up to the children, and they're attempting to stop the kids from moving. They're trying every way they can to either stop Gunko's arrows or to also grab them, like we saw the teacher, the math. We saw the math teacher. I think his name was Wolf, and then Saul was also trying, and they both got severely injured in their attempts. And then they're like, yes, look. So we got some different parent. We got an old lady. She's trying to chew up the. She's trying to chew on the arrow made by Gunko, and another guy's just keeping one of the younger ones, a warrior with an axe. He's carrying he's swinging it repeatedly at Gunko's arrow in order to try and destroy it. And much like with Doflamingo strings, these things are like impenetrable, it seems. And my only complaint here, so to speak, is that it's too bad none of these people know hockey. Cause I would well, maybe these guys wouldn't themselves, but I wonder if someone who's very strong with their armament hockey could have broke that string thing. Like Zoro at this point, I feel like could probably do it. that was I'll bring up a little tangent there with back at Dressrosa. I wonder if Zoro had tried one of his powerful Santorio techniques against Doflamingo's birdcage string. Would he have been able to stop them? He took his sword. He had like Shusui and Sandaiki Tetsu, and he was like pulling them out in front of him. I think he had both of them out, and he was hacking them to try and slow it down, but it wasn't doing anything either. But also, I think he certainly seems like he's much stronger now since Wano, and I wonder if he could have done that better than even as he is now again back then. But also back then, I still feel like back then actually I kind of think Zoro might have been even stronger than Luffy still. What I mean is to say is like everyone likes the power scale, and I'm no exception. So I can't help but think that up until Luffy got Gear 5, Zoro might have been the strongest in the group. His techniques and stuff that he did against Pika, I think would have been could stop Luffy's Kongon and stuff like that. Just my power scaling biases. Anyways, back to here. Yeah, no, everyone's here is trying these parents and grandparents are trying valiantly to stop this, but it's just a little sad to see that these great warriors don't seem to know how to use haki whatsoever, and that could give them a smidgen of a chance to break Gunko's arrow or stop the thorns. It does seem that it does seem like a little bit of a plot thing where Oda's gonna just have it where they have to stop Gunko and Summers, and the set likewise definitely with the other guy to turn off their powers here. But this kind of brings up this question about this always bugs me a little bit. Like, okay, what if these people could really use their could use powerful armor and haki? Would it work on these kind of devil fruit abilities? And Summers in his rage, he actually yells down to them in a way. It's funny because he's their enemy, but he's like, "Oh, don't even bother, you clowns! If I could have stopped them, I would have done so already." Which is like, well, why are you talking to them like that? They're gonna look at you like, "Oh, well, will you help us then?" And they're like, and he'd probably be like, "Well, wait, no, why am I talking to you like this?" And he's like, "Wait a minute," and then this is where we see his so we saw him talk about this back when they began this operation, and the three of them were him, Killingham, and Gunko were having a meal while they're watching the kids begin their trek away from the school and toward the shore. We got an idea that he's very sadistic in his desire to like watching people die a certain way, and like he likes the hopelessness aspect of it. A little bit. It's very similar to Doflamingo and how he wanted to. He did it with his controlling other people and then have them wildly swing around and kill loved ones. Summers does this. Takes this opportunity like that here, and he's like, "Wait a minute! Oh, the parents are there at arm's length, and they're unable to touch their own children due to my thorns." And then at the same time, the children are continuing to walk because of Gunko's ability, and they're going to plummet to their deaths. And we get this look here, like, oh, that's a wonderfully or deliciously depraved way to die. Oh, I really want to watch this. And he's like, And if I think about this, I won't take any blame for this because I can just say, oh, well, the Great One is controlling Gunko's body and I couldn't stop it, so nothing to do. There's nothing I could do. So he's just trying to think of a way to excuse to say, well, I couldn't do anything, so I just sat there and watched it, and then we see he'll enjoy that all the while. Whoa, Wilder, come here. So he's figured out a little excuse to say to Emu, and so he starts saying to the parents, "Oh yes, call their names." Oh no, wait, this might be more toward the kids. Call their names and scream your family's loved ones, love to heaven. This is their motion. So he just wants to see them scream and wail as they, as the kids plummet to the deaths, and the parents are gonna be like, "Oh, stop it! Come on." Oh, Wilder, come on. So the So he even says to him, he's like, wait a minute here. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So he wants to fill them with more dread. So he wants to fill them up with more dread. So he's like, he yells down to them, or no, he's using the oh yeah, he's got the dend and mushy. That's you can see the way the panel is. He's like, listen up, you brats and parents. We were planning on taking you safely and smoothly to the Holy Land, but due to an unforeseen accident, oh yeah, I'm making it sound like it does seem kind of like a flight attendant. Due to an unforeseen accident, we seem to have lost the ship in the sea clouds it rested upon. And so we got the shot here, and everything is still happening in the background. We still got all these other stuff in the background happening. The other, we see the ghost and the druggers and the dragon going around. Well, there. Here, come on. And so he's like, and therefore, they're reaching your goal. Yeah, so you won't be getting on the ship after all. And he's like, oh, via the hilarious. Oh, he's about to say hilarious. Oh, the tragic conclusions of falling to your deaths. And all the kids are like now reaching the descent there to the dock. And they're like, oh no, we're about to fall off. And we switch to Oimos now, seeing him still there. He's one of the ones he's attempting, like Saul and Wolf did, to simply grab one of the kids. So one of these kids is, which one is it? So I got him here. Olaf. I think the one named Olaf. One of these, I think it's one of these is his grandchild. Which actually I had to stop and think about this earlier. Oimo just does not look. I know the giants live longer, but Oimo didn't look like he was old enough to have grandchildren yet. To me, it just Dorian Bragi look like they're in the right age appearance. And actually, now when I think about it, I wonder if Dorian Bragi even have any children. I have a feeling they don't because they've been gone for so long. I think they probably just were out at sea when they were relatively young. Yeah, because they're about the same age as Harold, and Harold was really young when we saw him about 100 years ago. So I don't think I think Dory and Bragi just were gone for so long because of their duel that they never had a chance to settle down with a lady each respectively and have children yet. And Oimo and Kashi, they're younger than them, I'm sure, but they were trapped at Endy's lobby for a while too, but that was only 50 years, I think it was, and so they had kids beforehand. We can see here Oimo at least had a child at some point, and now has a grandchild. So, anyways, yeah, I hope Dorian Bragi end up having some kids at some point, having a chance to make a family if they want, because they were trapped for so long under the rules of their duel. And so Oimo's trying to, or like Saul and Mr. Wolf before, he's trying to simply grab his grandson and pull him out of the line there. And we see other people working together to, here, I'm going to go get it down. Some of the other people are trying to pull on Gunko's string. So they're trying every available idea they have, and they're doing a lot of ones that make sense initially. We saw the other two giants trying to cut the rope, one with her bare teeth, and the other using an axe. And then we got another one here just pulling back like a tug-of-war type style, trying to hold back the rope of Gunko's string, I should say, like a rope. And so he's grabbing onto his grandson, Olaf. And Olaf's like, Grandpa, oh my, be careful. Like, he sees him getting harmed here. And this is the part of the crux of this chapter is everyone's like, what are we going to do? Are we going to watch our children, grandchildren die? And how are we going to stop them? And so that we'll get back to that. Then we go to Killingham. And Killingham's watching from nearby. And Summers continues his message like, oh, well, I'm afraid there's nothing I can do. Oh, you can do about it. Oh, right. Oh, sorry. I thought he was kind of no, he already said that part before, right? Well, there. So it's like, oh, and there's nothing you guys can do to stop it either. And Killingham here is really pissed. He's like Summers, why are you turning this into a game for your own entertainment? Don't you understand how long it took us to get those kids to port? All the work we're putting into this? So he's like not having any of it at this point. He's like, he's thinking, okay, we should focus on the mission. And, no, Summers is taking advantage of this to have a little more entertainment for himself. So we go back to Oimo, and he's fallen down in pain. He's tried repeatedly to get his grandson Olaf off of there, and the other kid and his grandson says, Grandpa, don't bother, just stop. I understand what you're doing, but you're hurting yourself. And so some of the other giants are coming up to him like, Oimo, are you okay? And he's just like worried about his grandson, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't do anything, forgive me. And then Oimo's relaying this, thinking about the situation, and he says it aloud with Ripley there. Like, it's like, that's, if we don't, and he's just so he's kind of like thinking, we got to focus on the arrow. If we don't, as long as that arrow doesn't disappear, there's no way we can stop the children. We have to do that instead. So he's like realizing it's pointless to, get the thorn. So let's try to do that instead. And but Ripley's like interpreting like, oh, if we don't, so we can't save them if we don't stop that. Well, how are we gonna? What can we do then? So we're just gonna have to stand here though, and they're like, well, we've tried everything. We've tried in cutting it. We tried in holding it back. So what are we gonna do? Just stand here and helplessly watch our loved ones, our children, plummet to the edge? And then another points out, if they fall down below too and into the underworld, we'll never be able to recover their bodies either. And and another one just yells, curse you, you foul demons. And Summers is just above nearby laughing at them. And actually that made me think too, like, he's right nearby there. It looked like a moment ago. Why don't you guys like starting to take your axe and just like throw it at him? And because he's the one creating the thorns, you could stop him right there. Try to, anyways. They without proper hockey, he'll just recover. But just like go after him now instead of trying to stop the children. But at this point too, they're kind of stuck because now, as you can see in the shot, the kids have started reaching the edge. So Colin is the one I think that's at the front, and so he's going in. He'll be the first to go down there, which will probably be even more entertaining to Summers because he realized recently that this is Scopper's son. So now we start getting to this emotional point here. We get the kids together, and they're all like, this isn't a dream anymore. It's like heaven is punishing me for doing bad things. And they all start like they're going to start relaying these stories about how their parents say, oh, this is, if you ever grew up, I got the same kind of scolding from my father as well. Like, oh, like, someone's watching you. I'll go into that more in a minute, actually. But yeah, I recognize this sympathetic style of parenting thing that I've had too, where, oh, if you do bad things, you'll get punished. And so the one kid there, who was that one? I think that's Meg, saying at first, like, I think heaven's punishing me. And then I think that's Olaf, like, huh? What are you talking about? And then the Yelva, she was the one who was originally in front before Colin was, and she's saying, oh yeah, that's the same thing my parents always say when I get scolded too. And then we get who's that one? I think that's Scaldy, and he's like, that's what they tell me too. Now I really wish I had been a good boy. So everyone's starting to like think about these reprimands and the tales they've been told by their parents or grandparents about being bad and get punished, and they're all starting to regret not listening to that. Cause they're kind of like saying, oh, karma really is coming to get us type thing. And one of the other ones say, that's probably looks like Yelva again maybe. Oh, so we're all gonna die because we were naughty? Oh, I don't want to die. I'll be a good girl, I swear. Yeah, that must be Yelva, probably one of the other girls. Who's the other one? There's Karen, I think that we saw there. So yeah, we see him near the edge, and so the other ones all start wailing too. Oh, help us! Save us! I'm so sorry for being bad. Oh, there's a shot too. Okay, so they're right near the western village there. We can see the castle. Oh, wait, let me go down. So we start seeing them each have a mini flashback of them when they were scolded by their parents, starting with Colin. And it just happened until we get a shot of Summers again. He's like, oh, the show's about to begin. He's waiting like one by one as they fall and go down. And oh, this is cute too. So when we go to this flashback, we see that Colin won a toy in a duel because he's fighting. He's always trying to be the war. He's the only warrior mentality among the kids at this point and previously, and so he likes to try and fight with the other kids. He probably coerced someone. Like, some of the kids don't even want to be warriors anymore, so I don't know how he got one of them to duel with him. But the toy there, it's just a mini version of Emmett, the robot that was Joy Boy's companion that we just met at. We saw it at Egghead. But he's coming home. He's showing Ripley that he's got this. So he probably hurt the kid a little bit or something because she's reprimanding him in a way where he's like he did it bad, and maybe because also they got the rules up against fighting. And she starts saying, remember when you're a bad boy, the sun god is watching. This is the one I wanted to bring up. My dad always warned me about being bad because Santa was watching, and you wouldn't get any presents if you were bad. And so he used that a lot on me to when I was little to keep me. Cause my sister and I would fight all the time. Wait, where are we? Yeah. So and other things like that. I just was bad. So my dad what do you call it? So he used that kind of thing, like, oh, I know other people use that stuff like, oh, God or Jesus might be watching you, and so you don't want to be bad. But the Santa one was the one that always worked the best on me. Okay, so it finishes Collins. The next page continues Collins there, and she's basically Ripley's reprimanding, like, just because you're really strong doesn't mean you should be mean to the people who are weaker than you. Now go and apologize to that kid that you took the toy from. And then we go to we're going through them in line here. So we go to Ylva. Oh yeah, and here's her mom. Her mom was one we saw earlier too, with the hair, with the braids. And so so Ylva's the type where she doesn't want to eat what she's been fed, so she doesn't like her vegetables. And so her mom's in this flashback, her mom's like, why didn't you eat your food? Do you hate my cooking? And her mom, and then Ylva's like, what? It's carrots. I don't like carrots. I understand, Ylva. I also hated carrots when I was little, especially when they were cooked. I didn't like raw cooked carrots or cooked peas. I don't like peas in general still. I like to eat a carrot raw now and then. They're better that way, but they're okay in soups if you have enough like other broth or other flavorings. I'll eat them, but back when I was a kid, I was just like Ylva excuse me, not Sylvia. Especially with peas though. And now we go to Scully. Yeah, we're going in order. Oda's got the order just right. I'm looking at 1,147 here on my other screen when Summers was giving their names off, and he's going in the same order as he showed them there. Oh wait, no, yeah, it was Summers there, but I think it was oh wait, that was actually Angie that said their names though. But yeah, right? Yeah. Anyways, I think it's Angie that said their names. But it's in the order they were have been in it, with the exception that Colin was not in the front before. They moved him around at some point there. So we go to Scaldy, another one with the horns. There's a few of them here with the Oni horns, and it looks like he was stealing his father's sword. His mother has horns too. Okay, I don't know if we saw the mother in another shot there. We might have. I recognize Ylva's mother earlier. They showed her in a couple shots with Ripley and Oimo when they were racing over here. So he's stealing his father's sword. What is he doing with it then? I didn't think he wanted to be a warrior. Only Colin was really interested in that. So we get we're getting like these one panels now here with some of these, and so we next go to Olaf, right? Oimo's grandson, and so we saw he was teasing. He's been mocking his grandfather, saying I don't like you and you're horrible because you're one of those barbaric pirates, and everyone at school says we can't be like that anymore. And so yeah, so every one of these kids is regretting this thing, these worst moments they've said to their kid, their parents or grandparents, and so we go to this one's name is Karen, and we see her mother saying, "Well, why are you lying to me again? How can I keep you safe if you won't be truthful to me?" So she just always wants them to hide something from her mother, and so they're lying is always something we're taught kids not to do to our parents or anyone else. So we can see she was feeling shame there, but she always was doing it. She consistently would lie to her mother for one reason or another. And then we go to Mag, Mag again, the one with the glasses we saw a moment ago, and he's like, so he's back at school, and his mother brought his homework assignment to him, and he yelled at her here in this flashback because he didn't do the homework, so he purposely left it home so he'd have an excuse not to have it there, and so every one of them's feeling guilty here. So we don't do Ranja's here though. Okay, Ranja's the one I think and the last one I think was Ranja. Was there any others? Oh no, there's a few others too. We don't see their flashbacks. I think there was like 4 others. No, they're gonna show theirs. Right. I know one of them shows up again. So, okay, we stop briefly. We see Colin and the other 2 getting really close, and they're like, "Mommy, I don't want to die," and so, in an act of great selflessness here, we see Ripley get in front of the dock, and she's holding out her arms as Colin walks toward her, and let's see, yeah, hold on a second. So this shot is awesome. It's like every parent just starts grabbing their kids as they're about to fall, starting with Ripley. It just shows it in order here. So Ripley starts falling, and every one of them's getting stabbed. We got Ripley's going first with Colin, and then Yelva's mom, and Oimo, and what was Scaldy's parent ones we just saw? Who was that? Scaldy, yeah. Scaldy's mom was the other one with the Oni horns, yeah. They all grab their kids here, and the kids are like, "What, mommy?" And it's just so good. So you got Summers there just laughing his ass off, and we got Yarrow's great granddaughter Ranja still saying, "Don't worry, guys, it'll be okay, right, everyone?" And then we get a shot here. The arrow, so Gungo's arrow too. Funny enough, interesting thing, it's still going straight, so it doesn't follow them down. It's not gonna conform to the gravity, and so we get the shot of those first 4. We got Ripley, Oimo, and the other 2 parents, the Yilva and Scaldy's with their moms, all falling down together, and then next we get Ranja. So that must be her dad, okay? Cause I think I think Ranja's the one who's like I just said, Yarrow's great granddaughter. So that's his grandson there. So he's grabbing her too, and he says, "So don't. I heard you earlier. You're so brave." And so we start getting the others. We got Bent. Right, Bent was the next one. Yeah, we jumped. We don't see. Did Mag have a flashback? Wait, what was Mag? Yeah, Mag was his mother. We don't see Mag's mother there, I think, but we go to Bent, who was the next one they showed back then. He was the one after he's the one after Mag, and you see his mother's that one with this curly hair, and oh, that's right, this is. And so she grabs him, and that's right. He was the one. Okay, that's right. He's the one that we saw earlier. An apparition thingy that Killingham made produced a monstrous version of her. We saw it. I think that was the one that attacked Dorian Broggy's ship the Eric when they were flying around fighting off some of the other conjured monsters, and we do his flashback now, or where like Angie or one of the other teachers, I think that was it was Angie that was in that teaching them in that class, and she's like, "What's the scariest thing in the world?" And he said back then his mother, and so. She must have seen that thing stomping around, that a conjured doppelganger of her, essentially. And so he apologizes. I'm sorry that I said you were scary. And she's like, it's okay. But sometimes mothers do need to be scary to keep you safe. And now we switch to Johanna, who's the one we saw as an orphan. She's the second. Yeah, next is Roto's brother is next. And so, this one. And so we go to a flashback there with Angie. We see that Angie was like saying, "Oh, it's okay if you don't have a mother. Like I can be like your mother for you. I'll look after you and such." And then back then, Johanna says, "But you won't be my real mother." So she was just always. You can see there was a chip on her shoulder of sorts where she sees all these other kids with parents, and she feels very envious and maybe jealous of that. And she's been trying to just bottle up those feelings about not having any real parents to like everyone else. But Angie, this is where Angie went to. We saw in the last chapter too. They mentioned, I think Gene Base today, that she had run off. So this is where she went. She went to try to help the other Ripley and Oimo's group in rescuing them. So she comes out of nowhere and hangs on to Johanna as they're about to fall, and it's really cute. She's like, "Miss Angie," and we finally go to I think Bjorn is the last one, Roto's brother, and so he's like, so what his thing is the one he said he realized Roto had these habits that seemed very his hobbies or habits or whatever, like we saw the stuff he's doing with when he kidnapped humans, and so. And he's like, "Please don't ever show up at school for any like a parent-teacher conference." So it kind of implies maybe their parents are dead too, and Roto's been the one. He's an adult now as a giant, so he's been looking after Bjorn. I'm assuming here based on this way, and he's like was saying to him, please don't ever show up to school. I'm parents that have a nerd for a brother," and Roto said back then, "Oh. Well, I'll try my best to hide my nature." And so Bjorn's thinking, "Oh, this must be heavenly punishment. I shouldn't have said that thing." And so then we got Roto running over. That's cute. It's going to be really good anyway. He's like, he runs over. He was nearby fighting the conjured thing, and he runs over there, and he jumps underneath as Bjorn's falling and catches him. And he's like screaming, "Oh, it doesn't hurt at all." Trying to it's like that when you hit something and it reminds me of like when those karate people, I've always understood like if they hit something, when they scream, they try to cover up the pain mentally. And Bjorn starts breaking down too. And so that's all of them. Yeah. We didn't see... No. Did we see Bent's... only thing No, we did see Bent's thing. That came later. Okay, yeah. We saw all of their flashback. I was trying to think... I thought for a moment Oda skipped one of them. So they're all falling down, spiraling down. Someone's just laughing away at this. He's like, "Oh, look at all those garbage falling into hell. It makes my heart tremble." And he's like, he's enjoying he's enjoying that they're suffering as they die. He likes this... He must like I bet Summers is the kind of guy that would like tragedy plays. And then he's like, "Oh, those other people could have just saved themselves. It could have just been those brats if they only stood by and watched." And then he just keeps going on. "Oh, what such stupid parents and mothers and fathers all dying as martyrs for love." And he's like, "Oh, I'm laughing so much I got a stitch in my side." And then we get this is near the end now. We just see a shot. They all just land on something. It kind of happened too fast. This is a moment I think Oda, the anime, hopefully will elaborate a little better, because we can't tell at first what happens here. We just see them land on something, Um, and then Ripley and Colin, we switched to them, and it's like, she's like, Colin, where are we? And Colin's like, I don't know, but everyone else is still alive. We're okay. What? Oh, wait, I see what happened. Duh. Why does it look like that still, though? So someone says it's gum tummy cracker. I think what's happening here is, so Luffy's there. Let's get to that. I think he turned his surface here into rubber so they would bounce. But we're gonna see this is not on land that they've hit on. Oh, I think that's Luffy saying that. You guys are poking me. Oh, is that his body? I know Luffy. Oh, I think that's Luffy's body spread out. Yeah. Luffy, yeah. Colin or Ripley, when I'm like, Luffy, what? And now we switch to an eye, and we see a voice. Listen up, once we're up there, I need you to get off my back at once. And we see a silhouette. We see something flying. And I think Luffy or one of the others is like, oh, you're back? And it's like, yes, you'll prevent me from being able to fight properly. And Luffy turns to the giants and is like, oh, you guys were falling out of nowhere. Good thing we were passing by. And then Loki, this is Loki, by the way, he continues, it's not a good thing. I'm a destroyer. Once I start being able to fight, I'm not sure I can guarantee anyone will survive. Now here goes. So he also wants to get these people out of danger. And in the next shot, where is it now? We get, no, we got a couple of pages. So first we go back up. Oh, shit. First we go back up. God dang it. We go back up and we got Summers saying, wait, there's snow? He starts looking at snow starts falling on, and then we see storm clouds coming, and there's thunder coming, and then lightning starts coming down and striking down on the conjured things in the forest, and then the drums start. We start seeing what's this rhythm? We switch to Jarl and his guard that, with him, the others in the West Village. Wait, where is this rhythm? Elbaf itself also seems to be shaking. And then Jarl seems to be quoting something here. And he's like, on an exceedingly rare day, when lightning and snow combine, a vast beast will blanket the sky with its presence and with the sound of the drums of liberation. And Emu and, well, I don't know if Gunko's still presently consciously not noticing this. I suspect she could be. And Summers are like, wait, what is that? What's going on here? And in the last shot, we get a double panel. We see Loki in his zone form. He's like a fucking dragon, like a European-style dragon. And then it continues. Wait a minute. So Jarl's thinking it with the sounds of drummation, the sun god will appear. And we see Luffy and Ragnar, Loki's weapon in his squirrel form. Luffy's got it's his classic. Oda redrew the classic pose there. He's riding on Loki, and Ragnar is there too. And then Luffy's just like, "Wow, you're just so freaking huge! I can't get over this." And we just see Loki is like raining weather down upon the conjured things. We can see the Dragnir and the others look like they're in pain as lightning is striking them, and it's like, goddamn, he's just like Kaido in that respect. That he seems to be coming with He has his hockey and his devil fruit ability is so powerful. He's bringing weather with him. And also, oh, look at that! Actually, I didn't even catch that because he's got a helmet on. You can see on top of his forehead there. Yeah, when you look at Loki's head here, I noticed his helmet. The piece of his helmet that was showing up when the front portion of it is on top of his head there. I like how Oda does this. And but it also brings up a question here with Ragnar. So first, when I see this, I think especially of Chopper, Lucci, and Kaido. And when they transform, Chopper in particular is like this. He grows large, and so his pants and his hat stay the same. Lucci, this kind of changed now when. I'm thinking brief when he fought Luffy and Lucci used his awakened form. When he took his clothes off except for his pants, right? So, the thing here is like certain clothing will stay on and be appeared in the character when they in a zone when they transform. So in this case, Loki was wearing dark clothing though, so this is kind of in suit with that, follows suit with that. But then he still got the pit of his helmet on, and with Kaido, it's his cape. He doesn't always he wore a shirt at one point I think during the ceremony stuff when he kills Orochi or try to. So I just thought that was cool how Oda does that with this little stuff, and so with Loki, it's gonna be probably won't see that he's wearing the leather pants or whatever he had on, but you see his helmet. But this brings up a question here because I noticed he's got Ragnar there. You can see here next to Luffy, and it's funny because he this is the first time I think we've seen a Zone who carries a weapon have it with him, because Kaido's the other version of this. Kaido has a kanabo that he uses, and when he was fighting the Red Scabbards and Luffy and Law and the others up on top, he had his kanabo there, but then when he would transform into his full dragon form, he didn't have the kanabo anymore, and it didn't look like he had it wielding it on his back. And we get Luffy here now. We know Luffy's a Zone, but he doesn't. His stuff transforms with him too, and even when he was Gear 4. So it's just like the rules here seem very flexible to some degree with that point. But like when it comes to weapons, I think, or I don't know about the Straw Hat with Luffy, but Ragnar here instead is just like, because he's a Zone and a weapon, he can transform himself into his animal form and what do you call it? Ride on top of his owner. Actually, that makes me think now. Oh, that's an interesting thought. What if a weapon had 8 Chopper's fruit? So we'd have, say it was a hammer, and it ate the human fruit. So would it just be a metallic-looking human that would turn into a hammer with a wooden, with some parts of being a wooden handle? How would that have worked? And so now, too, I hope in the next chapter we get to see Luffy and Loki face off against Emu. Or at the very least, I want to see more of what Loki can do here. And I hope we get better shots of how he looks. This is from the front. And we kind of saw in the last panel here. Where is it? When he picks up the kids. Yeah, you can see part of him down there. Right here. Then he's flying around. He's got his limbs. So he's definitely more like an Asian, not Asian, the European dragon, not the Asian like Kaido. And so he... I want to see how the scope and scale a little better of his form, because Kaido is a very tall guy, but not like this. Kaido was like maybe 25 feet tall, but Loki's an extra large giant. But how big is he gonna be then, really? Like, can he be as big or bigger than Kaido? Because Kaido turned into a Azure Dragon, and Azure Dragons always look very large in all other depictions. So, like. In that respect, I wonder if Loki had ate Kaido's dragon fruit instead of this one, if he would have been even bigger than what Kaido could become, because he's like 6-7 times bigger than Kaido in his human form, his non-Zone form. So it'll be very interesting to see how big he is here, and it'll be interesting too to see what else he can do. I hope at the very least I think we'll probably get more of what he can do. And then down again, will be like, who is Oda gonna sub to fight here, among the next chapter here? Where's Sanji gonna go? I hope Sanji doesn't get sidelined from fighting more here. I want Sanji to get another good fight. It seems that we haven't got much from Sanji since Wano, which is not too long ago relatively, but it seems like Sanji's been having that happen a lot more in the post-time skip arcs. So I want Sanji to have a good fight. I thought he was going to get a good one against Kizaru, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, but I don't know. But it seems like Oda is going to have to do some of that, because he got to focus on the characters here, much like he had to do with Dressrosa and Wano, where there we got like Rebecca and her dad, and then in Wano with Kinemon and Momonosuke, Oda's got to give some screen time to these characters here who are trying to liberate their country from these invaders and these people who would seek to oppress them and harm them and all that stuff. So Sanji feels like he might get the short end of the stick here in that way, and I hope not too much. And yeah, this is just cool as hell that Oda brought in another dragon. I want more mythical zones like this. I'm trying to think what else we can get now. I want more godlike ones. Maybe we're gonna do something like that later on. But we got 2 dragons. We got 2 gods. Technically, well, Buddha's not really a god, and with Luffy the other one. And what else was mythical? Did we have another thing? I'm blanking right now. But I want more. We got plenty of ancient zones. Now we need more mythical zones and things like this. I think that's where Oda's kind of going with this. So this is really exciting. And now this is going to be, it seemed like a fairly long wait. Although, by the time... No, the next chapter will come out before One Piece live action. The live action is coming out soon. So we got so much coming up to be excited for. And then I think it'll be April when the anime comes back. So, anyways, yeah, back to this. I can't wait for this. This is awesome. That's it. Thanks for watching.